What's up, guys? About the 13 of you that have seen the past couple of my videos know that I've been working on the body of this car. I've been doing a lot of repainting and paint correction, and one issue that I came across is rusty fenders, and I definitely don't have the skill to repair it and look good, so I thought I might as well just try to cover it up with something instead of fixing it. So in this episode, we are going to be installing the rear wide fenders from Agile Performance. These are fiberglass fenders that go over your fenders. They are about 40 millimeters over. And there's a couple different ways you can go about doing this. I'm doing it pretty much the Poor Man Mod way. I'm not trying to make this look beautiful and seamless like a show car. I'm also trying not to do it super half-assed, but my plan for right now is to riv nut these to the car. I don't want to use rivets. I don't understand why people use just rivets. And that way, if you ever have to remove it, you have to drill out the rivets every time, which I think is silly. So we're going to be riv nutting it to the car. So I'll be drilling into the body, installing riv nuts, and then bolting these to the car. I'm not going to be so worried about the gaps on these. I basically just want them to be on to look decent, but it's not a show car. I think I might be probably eliminating this trim here. We'll see later down the road what happens when it's installed, but I feel like it's going to be too hard to get this trim to work. I'm probably going to do away with it. I am going to be deleting the rear marker lights back here. I think it's just going to be too much work to make them work, and I don't really mind losing them. So I think I'm going to delete the rear marker light, but I think I might want to try to keep the rear trim, and we'll see how that looks. I can always add the marker light in the future because I just have to drill this out. Or Dremel it out, but I really would like to keep the rear trim. But my main concern is just getting these attached to the car. So, and also I have to take care of the rust underneath. I'll probably cut it out and spray some paint on the rust to make it stop. But the first thing that I want to take care of is just getting this attached to the car. So I'm going to get this thing aligned to where I like it, mark where I want to drill on the fender itself, and then I'll put it back on the car and mark on the body where those holes will be and install the riv nuts. So this may or may not be a full step-by-step. We'll see how it goes. This is my first time doing this, but we'll see what happens. All right, I got 2 holes drilled, one on each side, drilled 1/4-inch holes. No special technique with drilling fiberglass. I just drilled it. And we'll try to get this lined up the best I can into where I believe it's going to stay. What you have to do is make sure that it can contour right here, because it does step down. And you have to make sure it looks good here. I mean, like I said, this isn't a show car, so I'm not super worried about it if it's a little bit off, but I want it to be decent. What I'm going to do now is take this punch tool. This is to make an indent in the body where I want to drill. That was actually a little too high. So I'll pull this off. I'll drill this one out, put the riv nut in here. Probably shouldn't have punched that one, but I'll put the riv nut in here and then get it aligned here and drill again. And then once it's nice and square, I can do the other ones pretty quickly, but I gotta do the first 2 to make sure I get it in the position that I want. So I got my pilot hole drilled. This is the riv nut we'll be installing. I'm gonna make the hole bigger with this universal bit until it fits. And you want to make sure there isn't anything important to where you're drilling. Make sure you don't want to hit anything. And where you are, good to go. You want to check before you drill, though. That should be big enough. Perfect. So here is my riv nut tool. And take the riv nut insert, put it on the tool. you're gonna shove it in the hole, squeeze the handle, and then unthread it. And if this is your first time, you might mess up. That's okay. But you want to push while you work it. Now our nutsert is installed, and we can take an M6 bolt and thread it in. Now we can put this on and see how misaligned it's going to be, because I'm sure even though I took my time, my hole was off. And this is why I don't understand why anyone would do rivets, because now you can just bolt it on. Now we'll just do the same process on this side. Like I said, you want to press towards the panel while you do this. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is it. The wide body for the Supra is installed. That's a wrap for this episode, and we'll see you next time. Oh yeah! I'm gonna put a couple more bolts in here. I'm thinking 6 to 8 bolts to hold it on. I'm using M6. I don't think you need to go any bigger than that, really. I'm gonna do a couple on the sides and then across the top. I don't know if I'm gonna do any on the bottom, but yeah, this is great. So I'm just gonna go and continue that process for the perimeter now, just to make sure it's nice and secure. Now I can get this stupid freaking tape off. I'm undecided on what I want to do about paint. I don't know. My original thought was to paint this to match the body, but like I said, this isn't a show car, and I'm not gonna put in the time and effort to make this look seamless. So it's gonna stand out. You're gonna see the gap and cracks and all that. And so I'm thinking, if it's gonna stand out, why not make it really stand out? So I'm debating on painting it black and putting like a nice red decal on it, like a Poor Man Mods decal or something like that, or even wrapping it in carbon fiber vinyl. I think the first thing I'm gonna do is wrap it in the carbon fiber vinyl. I have some, and if I don't like it, I can peel it off. But I think if it's gonna stand out, make it stand out, and do a really big Poor Man Mod logo on there, or maybe some other design, but we'll see. But yeah, the next step is just drilling and riveting the rest of the body to secure this. But so far, it hasn't been that bad. I highly recommend that riv nut tool. I'll have a link to that in the description down below. I don't recommend it. I don't recommend riveting them on. So yeah, we will continue on. All right, got the other side installed, came over and did this side as well. I didn't film anything on this side. Same exact process, just drill the holes for the riv nuts, get your bolts in, but obviously this side was different because of the fuel door. Now on this side, I'm not sure if it's a problem with my car or a problem with their mold or whatever, but I did have to trim a lot of material on the bottom side here to get it to be flush. It had a big bulge here that was preventing it from being flush back here, but I did trim it, and now it's pretty good. And a pet peeve of mine is when people do these flares, wide bodies, whatever, and they don't extend the fuel door, and I managed to do it. I don't know if it's the right way of doing it or not, but the fuel door is now extended, and it's not perfectly flush, but for someone who has never done anything like this before, I think it's pretty damn good. And I'm gonna show you how I extended it. If you wanna bring the camera a little bit closer, check this out. Magnets. So I have magnets all around the perimeter here that are pretty strong, and I have a tether, so the fuel door will sit just like that. It's actually held on pretty strong. If you put a magnet on here and pull, the fuel door is gonna stay on. So it is pretty good, and you can push it here to take it off. And if it does fall off while driving for whatever reason, there's a little tether. And it can dangle. And yeah, so that's how I extended the fuel door. I wanted to extend the whole bracket with it. Couldn't figure it out in a timely or cost-effective manner. Doing these magnets was very cheap and very easy. So I just made my own brackets for here and, you know, aligned them as best that I could to get this as flush as possible. And I think I did a pretty decent job for my first time ever doing anything like this, and it looks pretty awesome. So, and also, some people are wondering how wide these are. When I measured this fender going towards the outside of my factory fender, now I did roll my fenders, so that could have affected it, but I'm seeing about 1.5 inch extension on this one. From the inside to the outside here, it's about 2 inches, but like I said, I did roll my fenders, so that may skew it a little bit. If they weren't rolled, they'd be a little bit further in, so maybe 1.75 inches. But from this one here on the outside to the outside of my old fender, I'm seeing 1.5 inches, and it looks fan-frickin-tastic. So with that being said, I did not modify the factory fenders yet. I am getting different wheels for this car. They are actually here, and that will be a whole nother video. So the next video about this will be putting on my new wheels, which I think are gonna look amazing. But when they're on, I'm gonna have to see how much of my inner fender I'm gonna have to trim, because I got wider wheels with more offset, so they're gonna be coming out more. And if you don't modify the inner fender and you're lowered, like I am, I'm not slammed, but you're gonna be chopping the tire with the fender, so you need to correct that. So this video was just about installing these, and yeah, they look pretty awesome. I'm super excited about it. I think I'm going to be painting these red to match the body and leaving these bolts stainless. So that's it for this episode. Stay tuned, keep an eye out on the channel for the next one where I do the wheels and modify the flares. I don't have a time frame on that one, but it shouldn't be too far in the future. So hope you guys enjoyed this video, hope maybe you learned something, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.